just want somebody to love. I need somebody to love. I need someone to love. I need somebody to love. Oh man, oh man, oh man, we're back at it again. Back at it again with this Endless Zone Zero shenanigans. I tell you what, yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are just doing the things with little old Miss Ambi. So, first and foremost, before we get on to the things, we got to do some disclaiming. All right, we got to do the disclaiming. Yzma. All right, first thing we got to disclaim here is that the music today is going to be brought to you by none other than Carl Casey. That's right, from White Bat Audio, Carl Casey, spelt with a K. All right, spelt with a K. This guy does synthwave and metal, some punk, some electric, industrial. He does a little bit of everything. Okay? You can find him on bandcamp.com. Support him. He's a fantastic artist. And the cherry on top, you can use his music royalty-free on Twitch, YouTube, whatever. He just asks that you give him credit for the music that you are listening to. So that's the first disclaimer. Second disclaimer is that we are using Hoyoverse. Hoyoverse! We're using a character from Hoyoverse, Miss Ambi, and we are utilizing her and the artwork for Creative Commons purposes, educational purposes. We are not selling or redistributing this artwork in any way, shape, or form. Learning and Creative Commons purposes. And as you have seen, for the recap now, we have went from this to this, which is creating our draft, creating a base for Ambi, and mapping out her clothes, weapons, and accessories, and so on and so forth. And then we went over top of that and got ourselves some delicious, clean line art. Now we are on the final stage, which is coloring Miss Ambi. So, from here, let us go ahead and get the tunage started, and let's color Miss Ambi in. Let's go! Okay. So, there's a couple of ways to approach this, right? But we're going to do this in the most user-friendly way. So that way, one, I have the opportunity to learn, and two, all of you are going to be able to kind of follow along as best as possible. All right. So, what we're going to do, we're going to get the line art off. We're going to go back to Miss Ambi herself, right? And what we can do is what they call a swath or a palette. And we are essentially going to be selecting the colors that are going to be in each area that we can find, right? We might not be exact, but we're going to kind of just get that idea. So we're going to bounce around on certain subjects, such as the hair is going to be separate. Her, even accessory-wise, like it seems like her accessories kind of stay around the same kind of color band, but they're really not either. Needless to say, we're going to bounce around these individualistic parts. Anything that is of relativity, such as her green is the same no matter what. It does change in shadows here and there and so on and so forth, so we will change those as we need to. But for the most part, we will be making sure that we color code each section as we go. Now, how is the best way to do this? The best way to do this is to create a layer that is above this image here, and we're going to create palettes. And of course, when we're creating these palettes, we are going to be essentially just making a ball off to the side and then adding the colors that we want to it. So let's do it and explain it while we're doing it, because it's a lot easier to do while explaining. So we can surmise that the base color of Ambi's hair is this color right here. So we're gonna go off to the side. We're gonna make a fairly large brush size, yep, and just go boop. Well, let's do a hard press. There you go. Actually, I'm gonna use my mouse. There we go. Use my mouse. So this is gonna be, that's Ambi's hair color. That's her base. Her first shade is this color here. And so now we're just going to do a swath. We're going to hit the lock button. I forgot to say this. We want to lock the pixels. So hit that lock button. You should see a square with a lock on it right here. Now, whatever we draw will only stay inside that circle. So we're going to draw that second color right here. Right? Okay. Now let's grab another color. Another color that I see is this one here. That is probably the darkest shade that's used in this area. Make another swath. Might shorten it up just a little bit. There we go. That's good. And then another color is this flashing behind, right? I'm just going to add that. Let's see here. Let's actually make this one a little bigger. Oh, that was fine. That was fine. Grab this flashing. And then put that right there. It's a little hard because it's all around the same color group. So if we go and use our color grabber here, right? There's not a whole lot of differentiation between these two colors. They are in the same color house. If you go and wheel over, they shift in the blue category. See on the very bottom here, bottom left corner, the color wheel shifts, and it's still in the blue range. It's only shifted a little bit over. And then the last color I see here is her highlight, which is pretty much almost pure white. Yeah, it's pretty much pure white. But needless to say, we'll still mark it on here. We'll put it right at the tip. Right there. So we have the 4 colors that are in Ambi's hair. Fantastic. And now we'll unlock this, so now we can write stuff on the layer. And I'm going to put a little note here, just H, so that way I know it's for hair. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to still stay with that same layer. Now we're going to work on the headphones. The base color for the headphones seem to be this color here. That's right in this middle part. There's actually quite a bit of coloring that happens with her headphones. And that's normal because her headphones essentially are emulating like this steel color. Like there's a lot of metal going on around here, so there's a lot of color variation. And what we might do, we might custom, we might just try to follow this along as much as possible and explain to people, or explain to myself, of course, but you just happen to be here by proxy, that what I'm going to be doing to these headphones, because we also have this line of like gold, that also finds itself being used on these headphones as well. Just things that we're going to have to keep a mental note of. But more of the major areas we definitely want to try and color match as much as possible. So let's now go to her face and skin. So that right there, that is the same color, that's the same color. So this is Ambi's base color for skin. Grab our thing. Boop. There we go. Now we got Ambi's base color. Then we're going to grab the lightest shading that we see here. This is probably should be this right here. That's the lightest shade that I see on Ambi. Yes, that is correct. And we're going to mostly cover this up. Oops. Remember to lock your layer. Lock your layer. There you go. Okay, so that's her lightest shade, and it looks like it only happens in like one area, but we still need a lot of that covered up. All right, next we're going to grab the darkest shade. I believe Yes, this shade is pretty much used everywhere. It does not change. So this is her darkest shade. And it's the majority, so we'll just make sure we cover up the majority of this sphere. Sorry for my runny nose, I just have some allergies, it happens. Welcome to the life of a normal human being. I don't see much darker. This right here is a gradient. So what we'll do is we'll take the darkest color here, and we'll just understand that that needs to be used for a gradient. There we go. And then we also have this like slightly lighter shade, which is like, there's a word for it. I don't remember what the word of it is. I think it's like, shit. It's basically where the light is like emitting, and there's, I'm not even going to try to explain it, because there is a, that is the wrong color. There we go. But there is a word for it. There we go. And just double checking. I believe that is good for that. This is a little darker, but I think this actually matches that gradient we put on there, right? Pretty much. I mean, I'm not too particular with that, so it is what it is. Okay, so that is Ambi's skin tones. We do need a highlight. We forgot to grab her highlights. Right there. Which again, it's slightly yellowed, which should be the case. Like, not saying that I'm not surprised that this isn't yellowed a little bit. That's just pure white, but it's also, it might be just because of the fact that she has essentially gray hair, right? So there isn't any color to it. Typically when you have color for stuff, you want to go with a warm white, which is weird to say, but it's a warm white. It's not pure white. It's got some color to it. So we're just going to put that right there. All right, unlock the layer. And then I'm just going to put an S here for skin. So we got hair, skin. The rest of her is pretty much the same color as far as like her jacket, the bolts. I would even say like her headphones are also in this color zone, but this has a lot going on. So I'm going to leave this as a custom thing. And then, however, all this, you know, these bolts, her sleeves, her skirt, gloves, belts, leggings, and even some of her shoe all uses the same color palette. So what we will do is we will do we're going to do green. So green base. And then I'm going to put another B here, although I would like to say gray base, but I would have 2 GBs. So a black base. Green base, black base for the clothes. And then I want to do something separate for the red bits. I think the red bits deserve their own category, so I'm going to literally say RB for red bits. red bits. The sword is also going to be completely custom, so we will get that done whenever. When did I make this line? Oh, I made it right on the thing. Okay, hold on. Oh, damn. I fucked some shit up. That's fine. We can do... We can do one of these. Yep. So let's go ahead and duplicate layer. I don't think that's gonna work. I got it. Edit. Copy. Now we can go all the way back to where we fucked up. I believe, anyways. Oh, so we actually marked on her a long time ago. I mean, I don't really care. I just was curious if I could fix that. So it looks like I can't fix it. So we're just going to fast forward all the way where we were. Fast forward, fast forward, fast forward. Okay. And we don't need this duplication anymore. Is what it is what it is. All right, so where were we at? Yes, red bits. So we got the red bits. They are all the same color palette for basically the tags here, the orange circle there, the orange strips there, that there, that there. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's all uniform. There isn't any like major color differentiation with them. There's a little bit of shading difference here, but we'll get to that eventually. That will be part of the red bit color line. Her shoes are following the same regard, so really that's it. That's it. The only things custom are going to be her headphones and her sword, because clearly they use gradient work, and so it's hard to make a ball when you have a major gradients in effect. I know I said that her neck area is using a gradient, but that's a very simple one color and then we're done. So let's go ahead and start with the green bits here. The green bits, I believe her base color is this right here. It seems to be... Yeah, that's definitely her base color. I like to check different spots just to verify. And then that's the end of that story there. So, bloop. Got her base color. Excellent. Now we're going to get the lightest shading that I can see, which is going to be this right here. This is the lightest shade that I can see. Lock the layer. And draw. There we go. Perfect. Then we are going to grab the darkest, or the next that we can see here, which would be this one, right? No, it's going to be this one right here. This is the next darkest. Okay, well, this arm is doing some funky stuff, so we may have to custom this. This right here is kind of like what I said before. This is like, I would say this is like artist liberty, right? Meaning that they did a different swath, a different paint scheme than the whole rest of everything else that they did in green. The same concept is right here as well, because these are all different colors compared to what's on the chest here, the upper arm here, and this arm here. And it's even different. It's the same colors as far as down here. It's just the shading is done a little different. So if we look at the base color here, right, does that match down here? It's a little different. It's a little bit more highlighted, but not by much. So I'm still confident to go ahead and still use that. And then the secondary shaded color, which is this one right here. This is a little darker. Yeah, that's a whole lot darker. So we'll just have to use that darker tone. Now, is this shade the same shade as up here? No, it is not. It's lighter. How about this one? No. So there's actually quite a few different colors that are being used in this palette, which does give some difficulty. I'm thinking here. So base color is this for sure. Yeah, that's the one that's used the most. This shade is used here and there. It's really hard to tell, but it's there. And I already marked that, right? Yes, I already marked it. The next common shade that I see is this one. I'm trying to go down in steps, right? I'm trying to find, you know, what's the next darkest shade? The next darkest shade, and then the next darkest shade, right? So that way we can be uniform as much as possible. I believe this is like, that's like the darkest. Even these colors are actually different. Shush. My goodness. They really took some liberties here. Now, this might be a layer technique, which I kind of introduced you all to before, which is hard lighting. And that may very well be the case here, that they still only used, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 colors, but then they hard lighted areas to create a different color. Now, might not make a whole lot of sense if this is the first time you're seeing this video, so we will play with this. But really, what I truly care about is just getting the darks and getting the amount of shadows correct. And if we need to alter anything, we can alter it as we need to. I already know that this white line here is a design, and it's like a green white. Yeah, it's a green white. We'll go ahead and use it. When it comes to her legs, feet, so on and so forth, we'll figure this out. This may be more custom coloring work, and we may have to just reference this right here to get it right. But we might try a few different techniques. Because in my personal opinion, this is just a hard light thing. And it looks more complex than probably what it is. But what I really wanted to get at is the simplicity of just color copying and then making these palettes, so that way you can just go through and kind of have the color already matched. To me, there's actually an easier way to do this stuff, which is, of course, the grayscale. But the problem of it is, we are not going to achieve the same colors if we go down that road. We could, but you know, it won't be exact. And so we're trying to make an exact copy. And really, by doing this, right, we're just trying to learn, what did the artist do? How did the artist do it? You know, what can we do to replicate this? And again, the whole idea is to be able to create our own Hoyoverse character. And so if I can at least learn that, okay, you put shadows like this and you do some crazy stuff like this. Okay, got it. I understand. So, I think this is enough to just go on for right now, and we can color change things as we need to. So that will be the green base color. Now we need the black base. So unlock our layer, go back to the teardrop. Now there is a gradient here. I can see it. It's light, so you can watch it too. And you can see right down at the lower left how the circle goes down towards black, and then it goes up towards white, down towards black, up towards white. So there is a very small gradient on her sleeve here. So that means I don't know exactly what the base color is. It's more so likely going to be this here, but as you can see, I'm rolling around and the color wheel is going crazy, right? Because there's some grain to this artwork, and it might just because of how I screenshotted it. You know, it might just be that reason, and that reason alone. But this right here seems to be her base color. There's a gradient here as well, very small gradients. But we're gonna use this as her base color. For the black bits. For the black bits. Boop. Alright. The lightest shade that I see is, that's a highlight. Okay, so we got this shade here. Does it match this one here? This is actually lighter than this one. So technically, this would be the lightest shade. It's a whole new thing there. You know, some of this is going to be custom work. It's just, it has to be. She's a very complex character, and so we're just going to have to deal with the fact that she's got a lot of different colors and a lot of different ways that she's been shaded. But if we can just get a base shadowing down, these are pretty close, then we will have a close enough representation. Alright, anything darker than that, yeah, that's pretty much like full black. It's just a hair above full black. That's actually black. Almost. It's just a touch above. But we'll use this color here. Alright, highlight wise, yeah, that's a highlight. Her skirt definitely is a little different. Okay, so this seems to be the highlight. Okay, and there is a little bit lighter of a color right there. These are definitely after everything is said and done. We'll put it on there just because. And you notice how I'm putting my highlights on the swath different than the shadow. The shadow I'm kind of circling around, and then the highlights I'm kind of like beaming them on. And that's just a way for me to remember what's a highlight and what's a shadow. Don't have to do it that way, but that's just how I do it. All right. So then we have an undershirt. And really we should just do white bits because her shoes, the side of the designs here, and her undershirt will all share the same kind of aesthetic. But let's do the red bits real quick. I believe fully that the base color is this. And that'll be good, right? Yeah. That's the base color for sure. Oops, unlock. Hit it. Relock it. This will be a shadow. That shadow is darker, so this will be the first lightest shadow. Right. Darker shadow. And then we have like this red down here, which is like super freaking red. Which we might make like a separate swath for this one just because of the fact that it's just so different. Lock that in, grab that shadow that's underneath there. There we go. And since those are the only two colors that are right there, we're just gonna split that in half. Boop. Be done with it. All right. Okie dokie. Okay. Then we have her machine back there, which is also in the same category as a sword. We may just have to custom do this sheath when we get to it, because her piping, this golden pipe here, Jesus, this right here, and this right here seem to be the same color, and then also this little thing there. So we'll just do some other color matching, but really that's where we're going to start. And we will reference as best as possible this artwork as we're going, so that way we can see if we're like close, right? So this is the whole reason why we did a separate layer, is so that way we have, now these swaths are all by themselves, and we come back to the line art, and here we are. So, and we may take some artistic liberties ourselves, right? It's just, you know, we just want to be as close as possible to Ambi's colors and being faithful to the artwork. And really, it's not trying to copycat, it's trying to figure out how does a Hoyo artist do their thing. So I'm going to do it in the sense of how I would do it, and then I'm going to check it, see how different it looks, and then alter it from there. And then I can actually say, okay, that's how they do it. Oh, okay, that's how they do it. And so continuing on from there. So I made a whole separate layer. It's underneath the line. We want to make sure we're always, when we're coloring, we are underneath the line art. If we're over top of the line art, the colors are going to go over top of the lines. So we are going to start with her hair. And that's going to be real easy, because we're going to take that base color, which is this right here, and just fill in all of the hair spots. Oops, that's not a hair spot. Then we'll get the brush size a little smaller here. Go up to size 8. Size 8 would be appropriate. We're just going to make sure that any light areas or corners that we missed are going to be colored in. Now, it's hard to do this with such light hair with a white background, but we can change the color of the paper and go like black, right? And so we can actually see where we have made colors and where we haven't. Or, in the essence of things, where we have made colors where we shouldn't have. Let's get this eraser down a little smaller. This should be still the headphones. No color there. Sure I didn't miss any hair locks. Looks like this needs to be colored in a little bit. That's good. All right, I think we got all that. It's good. Switch this back to white piece of paper. Bring this back in. All right. Now we're going to start with the lightest shade. So you could say, well, let's make another layer, right? But I don't want to do that because I only want to work with the hair. If we make another layer, and let's grab a darker color just for shits and giggles. And I start drawing, right? This is what's going to happen. We don't want that to happen. So delete that layer. So you don't need it. So make sure you have your hair layer. Then you're going to create another layer, but you're going to clip to below. We should see this. And of course, this is through Clip Studio Pro, right? Clip Studio Paint Pro. Once you clip this, this layer now only interacts with this bottom layer. Meaning, I can draw out here, see? But nothing happens until I reach the hair. So I'm not making marks out here. If we unclip it, that's what happens. That's the difference. Always clip layers together like this, so that way you're not essentially coloring outside of the lines. And we grabbed that second shade, right? Yes. So this is the second shade that was used. Now, like I said, I'm going to be doing this the way that I would do it, right? So when I look at this, I know that each line represents the darkest shadow. That's what line art is. Line art is the absolute darkest shadow. And so when we see lines, technically, there should be shading around these lines. And this hair is going to be raised up. At least I believe it should be raised up. So we're going to make sure we stay away from that hair follicle a little bit. And we just draw a point. As you see here, that point is just raised up off of the hair. And that creates depth. Creates a lot of depth. Pretty much anywhere that I see these lines is where I'm going to be adding these shades. We already know this is the back of the hair, so we'll just go ahead and color it. Be just fine, just the way it is, just like that. And this should be underneath that. That's over there on this side. That's going to have like a little bit of shade here. Now I say it's going to, right? But in reality, it might not, depending on how the Hoyo artist does it. And again, we want to try and be as close as possible because we want people to believe that we are a Hoyo artist. We are part of the team. We want to be part of the team. You also have to make sure that you pay attention to the direction, because this hair here should be over top of this hair. It should. But it could also be on this side too, where this hair is on top. I'm not sure exactly where it would lay. I think it's going to be this way though. Personal opinion. Of course, we're definitely going to see here after a little bit and check to see how well my shadowing is compared to the Hoyo artists. Put a very light shadow up and around the headphones because they're on top of her head. I mean, it is going to create a small shadow. But as we've kind of discovered, they don't really use a lot of logic when it comes to these ladies here. So, or this artwork in general has had some interesting liberties been taken, and so I don't suspect that my shadowing is going to be probably even close. What the Hoyo artist is. Good, that has some depth to it. A little bit of shadow right here. There we go. Try some depth on this side here. Without shadow, with shadow. Without, with. Looks pretty darn good. And it's subtle, but it's in the right spots where it needs to be. Again, the light source for Ambi is supposed to come from left to right. So, to some degree, there would probably be a little bit more shadow around this hair here. But this is what is called an illustration narrative artwork, which is essentially we are really trying to pop this character out, and so we're going to most likely ignore a lot of what shading should be happening and all these other things because we really just want this character to shine. Alright, so that being said, I'm going to take the darkest shade here, and essentially what that darkest shade is reserved for is for the absolute darkest spots. Like this should be probably one of the darkest areas since it's the back of her head. This might be a dark area here. And clearly this is too, and I know this is going to be a different color, but we're still going to layer it on. Now, granted, I should make another layer for this, right? Because this is a different color, a different shade. I should probably make another layer for this, but it is what it is. I'm gonna be a rebel today. Sometimes it's okay to be rebellious. If you are willing to accept the consequences of rebellion. If you are able to accept the consequences of rebellion, then by all means, go for it. I'm sorry if my voice sounds like really far away. I apologize. I moved the microphone like out of my my face so I could actually see what I'm doing. There's really not much shadowing that I would like make really dark. It's really just the back of her head, or you know. All right. And obviously the flashing, of which, you know, we should be able to just kind of hit that. I can't remember if they flashed this whole side right here. I believe this whole thing was flashed right here, right? Was that the case? Was that true? We're gonna find out. That seems like a lot of flashing, but I feel like that's correct. That they flashed the shit out of all that. This might be also flashed. Yeah, that seems familiar. I said your selection tool is going to be very, very useful. I mean, I don't know if her hair was that flashed. It probably is. We'll keep it like that until we can confirm. And then, of course, the lightest color here is her highlight, her hair highlight. Might be actually a little more. You know? All right. Let's see what we did right and did wrong. Okay. I see the flash points. We technically got the flash points, except for the one that's back there. That's not apparently a flash point. Okay, so they make large angled interesting. And they make swoops of the okay, so we'll redo the shading. We'll delete the shading that we have right now, and we're going to try and emulate as best as possible. So obviously the base hair is fine. Create a new layer, flip to below. Let's do the lightest shade first and learn how they did it. Lightest shade. So it looks like when they do their shading, this looks shaded up to about there. This is just a line shade, that's fine. And this is all the same color as well. That does not change color. That's the darkest shade right there. Okay. So, how I'm going to reshade this. Not what I want to do. Is there a gradient in her hair? Yeah, there's a little bit. There's a little bit of gradient. It's fine. This right here is not the same. It's this color here. So, when does it not become this color? Yeah, that's the same. That's different. So, I'm getting this right. They essentially did that. And then it looks like they take some like gray lines and make like some hair strands, some dark gray lines. Okay. What color do they use? All right. Like I said, I am seeing like a very small gradient. So we're just going to create that gradient. And then take the line tool and kind of just do what they're doing, which is just creating these lines of hair. That's essentially what they're doing. They have some darker gray lines, but I think that's just the line art. I'm just off on my line art. That's not dark gray lines. That's just line art. Okay. Again, I'm going to be taking some artistic liberties myself. Just is what it is. And the reason being is because, you know, I want to kind of add my own little flair, but I want to be as close as possible. And if this is what I'm seeing that they're doing, which is adding these little strands here and there, then that's what I'm going to do as well. It looks pretty good. So more shadowing on that side than what I anticipated. So now I think we're ready for the darkest shade, which should be this one here. And it looks like they heavily focused on this side. And like, but here's the thing, like, I don't understand this shadow. I'm guessing it's this hair strand here. And then the one that actually makes sense, which is this right here. And this right here. I'm not saying that they're very random in how they decided where to put stuff, but there's so many things that would require this this darkness. I know that's flashed, so that's not a thing. But I would have put some right here, along with this right there. Okay. Now we have the flashing, of which, of course, I see the strands. I know you do too. The white or the base color strands going through on her in her flashing area. So this right here is going to be flashed. And so is this right here. And looks like pretty much underneath this go. That looks pretty good, actually. And then we're going to grab this white here and just start doing some pinstriping, if you will.
Then, as far as her highlights are concerned, they definitely use, they section it out. I did not section it out. So they make some pretty deep highlights. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and just map it. But I understand what they're doing. So just to kind of prove this point. There's that one. And then, okay, so something like this. Yeah, is that right? That's pretty close. That's pretty close. Not in the right zone. Okay. Close enough to where I'm satisfied with that. And then they skip this whole hair on top, which is interesting. So they did one big swoosh. Okay. Did too many swooshes. So they kept it a little bit more simple than what I was. Than what I was thinking. Yeah, something more similar to that. Oop, I think I went the wrong way. Yeah, because it should be making U's like this. So a U up here, and then a bow down there, essentially is how they do it. And this one is just simply something like this. It's not exact. It'll do. It'll do. And let's see, what color is this? So they had a separate color for some of the other strands. Okay. And that essentially is Ambi's hair. Is it exact? No, not quite. But again, we're not going for exact. We're just trying to learn how does a Hoyo artist color things. It's a little funky. I do understand it though. We do plan to do another character after this, though. I definitely want to do Evelyn, and not for those obvious reasons, but Evelyn is going to be probably the first model that I use for my first character, and so therefore I want to definitely use Evelyn, or draw Evelyn as well to kind of get used to that one. So we're fine with that. We don't have to necessarily make a folder for this. It's pretty much just 2 layers, so we shouldn't get lost in the sauce. But of course, best practice it would be to name these layers. I probably will just say hair. Put the hair in there. There we go. At least we got hair in there. All right. So, first custom work that we're going to be doing, which is the headphones here, because I kind of want to just work down, up, down, down, up. I try to stay in one spot. So, I am going to try and give this a base coat, which my personal opinion is this color here. Just to get a color palette down, to get the things where we need it. Now, also, a word of advice. Normally, which I'm going to change this, normally you want to work and continue to work under the layers that you've already colored, because then I can draw like this, right? And it doesn't go on top of the hair. But if I were to switch this up, now it's on top of the hair. So I usually work backwards. So instead of adding layers on top, I actually add layers below. So that way I'm not interrupting coloring that I've already done. And in truth, that right there is headphones, not hair. Alright, that should get it for the headphones. So that is the base color for headphones. Alright, so now I should be able to just keep Ambi in the background while I work on these headphones. So, first thing I notice is these shadow lines, which is going to be this color here. And they kind of like streak this up a little bit. Very strange. Oops, I need to first create a layer, clip it below. Way too much, I thought that was further down. And you can use whatever you want. You can use an eraser tool, you know, whatever you want to do, because clearly like these are Yeah. There's like these little slashes of highlight, which is just the color underneath. So I'm just going to use the eraser tool and go whoop, whoop, whoop. Something like that. This is just pure black. Okay. A little bit of highlight in here. Very strange. Kind of want to take like a fingertip tool. Ooh, it's too big. And just in there and do one of these numbers. Where I'm just essentially dragging the color out and just creating some sharp streaks, because it just seems like that's what they like to do. Alright, so now we got a highlight color. This seems to be the first highlight color. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to take that fingertip tool again. And just kind of work along this edge here. And then the last color here is going to be pretty light. It might be pure white. I don't know, it's just a really light gray. Okay. But too far. Too far. Then the last little detail is this yellow. Too much yellow. Getting that right ratio down. Right? Now let's work on the skin. So that was headphones. Let me just put H. Now I mean type all that. H. P. H. Headphones. I mean, as far as like stepping back and looking, it's like not a crazy process. It's definitely pretty involved. It's more than what I would do personally. So maybe I can refine this a little bit, because to me it's a little messy. But in the grand scheme of things, again, people aren't really going to be paying attention to this. They're going to be paying attention to a little bit other things. Hair seems fine. I don't see really any problems with it. So yeah, let's get to the skin. I'm gonna go ahead and just start by naming it. Skin. Let's go skin. Okay. So let's grab the base coat of skin. And just go ahead and start filling in all the areas that I know are going to have skin. Now, when we do the eyes, it will be one of the first instances where we will absolutely go on top of the layer of skin to do what we need to do. Verify all the areas I want colored are colored. Looks good. That should be all of what Ambi shows the world. Shows the world, baby, shows the world. All right, so create another layer, click below. Let's, I know that there's only one light shadow, and that's above her eyeball there. So let's grab that lightest shadow. And so as far as this is concerned, it's like I'm not gonna look at it because I want to try and figure that out. Essentially did something like that. I went a little farther down. I was on the right track. I was most certain. Look how I was on that right track. It's just they just didn't go down as far. Okay. So yeah, that's the lightest shadow. That's the last and lightest shadow that's on Ambi. The rest of these shadows make sense, so we're just going to continue from there. So let's grab that next darkest shadow. Now, this only exists on the face. We cannot use the darkest shadow next, and I'll show you. I'll show you why. That light outside edge right here, that right there is the first thing we need to draw. And then we'll have to worry about this gradient here in a little while. But needless to say, I mean, the rest of this just makes sense to do, the way that it's done. Now, some of it doesn't, because in the truth of things, she should have some shading up in here. I mean, that's just me though, right? Clearly, that's just me. So there's just things I would do differently than Hoyoverse would. And that's just is what it is. It's pretty much on par. Yeah, like the face, the way that this is done is very much like, it's perfect. But again, man, there needs to be something lifting this hair off her face. I'm just, some of this stuff just surprises me, like it doesn't exist. Like, dude, there needs to be some shadow here. Like, I understand keeping it simple, but there just needs to be some shadow. Like, not everything is devoid of shadow. This would be a little bit more sharp. There we go. Yes. Yes, queen. Yes. All right, so we are going to do the fingers though, because the fingers look like they just have some simple shadowing. As they should. Not much. We don't want. Jesus. We don't need much. Don't want much on these fingers. Just enough to show the depth, right? That's really what it is. Yeah. Pretty easy there. Now with her skin being this way, we may just go ahead and just color this just like that, and then we'll just do the gradient here in a little bit. That's what's making sense for me. Okay, so they did not do it on this side, which, not saying that that's weird, but okay. Oh, that was almost a fucking match, bro. Pays to know kind of like how you're doing things. I mean, her stomach would clearly bulge a little bit, so therefore, that, you know, we're gonna have an actual arc there. This one we're gonna save for later because we need to get that light edge. We could just, like, you know, start this, right? But I would rather just do the light first and then go from there. And I think these are both kind of the same. Now this one's just a fill. Oop, fill. Oh, I didn't, forgot this. Boop, there we go. Fixed. Okay. And this is essentially in the same boat. And these are that darker red color. Yeah. So now we are going to get that light shadow. I really freaking wish I remember what it's called. But it's basically just, it's a way of showing a transition. It's a transition light is what it is. It's transitioning from dark to light, light to dark. And it's used often. So, in anime it's kind of rare to use it, but it is used. Definitely for illustration work like this. Like in game and stuff like that, you're not going to see it. Or for actual cartoon series, like if they were to actually turn Zenless Zone Zero into a cartoon with animation and stuff, you're not going to see these lights because it's too much time consumption to draw these frame by frame by frame by frame in an anime. The only time that you're ever going to see it in an anime is if it's like a still shot. Still shots will have them, but not for action shots or anything that actually requires any remote sense of movement. It's going to be even more basic than what we're doing. Way more basic than what we're doing. So it looks like... So essentially what we would do is this right here. Fill that in. Fill that in. That's what we're going to be doing for all of this. Is just drawing the road, if you will. And you can hit the fill tool, mind you. Like, so even if I don't have the skin layer on, the fact that I had that selected, all right, see how my pen is on the layer, right? Because this is the layer that I'm selecting. So even if I'm not on that layer, if I hit the fill tool, it will fill it in because it's assuming that I am filling on that layer. Hopefully that was a good explanation. So if you're doing stuff like this where you're using another piece of art to go over top of something, just mark it out like I am. So just do the thing, right? Just like this. So I have it marked out. Go ahead and hit fill, and then when you go back to your skin layer, there it is. There's just shadows in places that I thought there would be shadows, but again, I understand that they're just trying to show off ambient stuff, but like there's just some concern because the shadows really wouldn't be behaving in this way, in my personal opinion. But I'll keep my personal opinion to myself. There's somebody like, don't you dare making fun of my waifu. Don't you dare tell me that those artists don't know what they're doing. You don't know what you're doing. That's why you're doing this. You have no idea. All right, so essentially all this is I'm just going to scrape underneath, right? And oops. And then just hit that right there, and there you go. That's really all it is. We're just leaving a thin layer behind, that transition behind. And that's really all that's all there is to it. That's how easy it is. Oops. It's probably best to go backwards with this one because I can actually see where the pointer is going. Ah, shit. Ah, shit. I'll just do this in sections. Yeah. Something like that. Looks like it's a little thinner on the legs. Let's go back through. I know all that work and we're going back through it. It's just because it's clearly very thin. It still might be a little too thick. But yeah, that's essentially how they shaded old Ambi here. Made this Ambi a little thicker. Sure, no one's complaining about that. Very strange. I mean, just take a step back, right? Just take a step back and just think about how this is shaded. And do you personally believe this shading looks correct? So you're telling me that, let's go to the top layer here. Actually, let's go to let's go to this layer here. So you're telling me that there is light coming from this direction, this direction, this direction, and this direction? So strange. I mean, it looks strange, right? Am I going crazy? It looks strange. Let me shade this how I would shade it. Just entertain me, ladies and gentlemen. Just entertain me, okay? Just entertain me. Shush. Okay. I don't want to delete this because this is obviously what we're going to do. But just entertain me. Please. Take that lightest shadow. It's fine here. I agree with most of that. This I would actually want. This is fine. I'm just gonna remind myself later of something. I'm just using the colors, mind you. I'm not really sold on this whole this really dark red. Then what we're going to do from here, add a new layer. This is going to be our highlights. Whoa. That was really hard. That was very hard. Something like this, right? And the reason why this looks better, in my personal opinion, than so let's see here. we gotta backtrack a little bit. So let's put all of these in and just merge them together. Yeah, so this is how I would have shaded Ambi, because I'm choosing a singular light source, right? If we look at where the light's coming from, it's bouncing there, 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 and then you have an ambient light source on here because everything has light around it. If you hold up your hand, right, just hold up your hand, maybe you're in a dark room or something like that, or whatever the light is, you know, the front of your finger or whatever you're looking at is shaded. One side of your hand is shaded, and then you'll see a very small highlight line around the other side of your finger. Everything has ambient lighting surrounding it. And the reason why I'm being so hard on this is because it is an illustration model. This is something that someone wants to this is like top tier art, right? Like this is a top of the top of the top of the top tier art. And as such, I would treat it as such. And I mean, I'm still missing some bits here, like this side of the leg still needs some ambient lighting on it. And this as well. This side here needs a little bit of ambient light, and this as well. So I'm not even entirely done with this yet. But needless to say, as you can see here, the light is only coming from one direction. That's it. There is no other light source. So this is my version of how I would shade and highlight Ambi. And then this is their version. Mine. Theirs. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not being biased towards myself either, right? I'm not putting myself on a pedestal and saying that I'm the best of the best of the best, because I'm not. I'm mediocre. I'm a mediocre artist. But I'm gonna have to say, I think my shading is sexier. Like, this is fine, but it's not at the same time. Like, it makes no sense. This right here looks like some quality shit, bro. And it's just like I said, take the step back. I'm gonna give you all the time you need on this one. Take the step back and just look at the skin. I'm just like, why are these parts being highlighted so hard? Why is her tummy just like in the light? Why is her left arm in the light? It doesn't make any sense. And it wouldn't make sense. And you go here and you're like, it makes sense. The skirt is shadowed. There's clearly a shadow there. Her skirt's lifted up on that right side, and so the sun is being able to get down on her leg a little better. Her other leg is behind the other leg. It's still going to get some light, but not as much light. It's not in the direct beam of light. So therefore, it's going to be fully shaded. Even the artist, clearly the Hoyo artist even knows this too. It's going to be in the light, but what happened to the skirt? The skirt has no light. The skirt is in front of this leg. So where is the shadow for that skirt? It doesn't exist. And then, we have some hard shadows and stuff because her jacket is covering up a lot of things, so I understand why it's dark in there. And her stomach is dark because her jacket and everything else is facing away from the light. It's shaded by the things around her. And then, this tag here that's coming off of her shirt, it's lifted. It's not like it's touching her skin. It's lifted off of her skin. So why aren't we popping that tag off of her skin? Versus the Hoyo artist didn't even give a shit. Because again, like, it's almost like it's acting like the light is coming right there. So yeah, I guess there wouldn't be a shadow, but there would still be something on this backside though. That's how light works. And again, why I'm being so critical of this is not a beginner artist who is doing this stuff. This is an artist who clearly should know their things. And it's just weird to me that they can't do, in my personal opinion, the most basics of shading. Like, character design is fucking on fleek, man. Like, this is beautiful artwork. But you're telling me you don't know how to shade? Come on. Come on. What's up with that? But yeah, I'm gonna keep my shade. I'm just gonna keep my shading. I don't care. I can't look at the other shading. We're gonna delete it. It's gone. Get it out of here. Get it out of here. I am gonna finish it though. So I'm gonna make another layer. Clip to blow. I need a glow layer. And get back on this. Grab that highlight color from over here. Boop. And then finish up what I was talking about. So again, there's still, even in the most shaded of shaded areas, there's still gonna be a little bit of ambient light. It's just the tiniest amount though, right? Just the tiniest amount. Just enough. And that's really it. Yeah. It's just a little disappointing, to be honest with you. Like, I'm like, really? Like, this is where we're at? Okay. Look at this. Okay. I mean, damn, that looks good. As far as, like, adding these glow layers. And then I don't think I want to do a glow on that. We'll just go back to this. Yeah, we don't want glow there. Glow is a little too harsh. And really, I'm not taking that much time, right, to add these little effects of skin shine and stuff like that. Like, it's just little touches here and there. And again, if you're a professional artist, this isn't going to take you any time at all to do. God, Ambi looks so much fucking hotter, bro. Come on, just give it to me. I wish I had a huge audience that was just like, oh yeah, dude, like, totally, I completely agree with you. But no, like, anybody on YouTube that watches this later or something like that, just Can you give me the credit? Like this makes Ambi look so much fucking hotter. Like damn, that's just it's like sun-kissed almost. It's so fucking good. So fucking good. Oh my god. Queen my pants, and it also helps that I'm a gooner. So since I'm like a 100%, like 1000% gooner, like it just the inner goon in me is like, yeah, I'd goon to that. Yeah, I want to goon to that. Like that's the whole point. You want to goon to this shit. You need to be able to goon to it. Goon, my gooner legion. Goon, gooner legion, goon. But yes. Yeah, that's just fucking. Okay. All right, we got to carry on here. So next we're gonna be doing the facial features, so the eyes. Now, like I said, we are gonna be doing above the skin on this because we're gonna be drawing over top of it. So we'll just do a new layer on top of that. We're gonna do eyes. And even though I'm just saying eyes, there's of course going to be the eyebrow here, the all the good things, all the good stuff and things. So I'm gonna turn off the skin and go here, and so it looks like they don't go all the way as far as like eyeballs. We're just gonna go pure white. Hit that. Pure white. Went down the skin. Yeah, because it looks like I would do something like that. There we go. That should be all right. And then her mouth, it's probably something along the lines of this. Yeah, that seems about right. Let's take a quick look. It's a little brighter in there. A little brighter in there, so we'll go about right about there. Yeah, there we go. That looks good. Okay. All right, and then let's see here. So first thing we're gonna do with eyes, obviously we got the white color just to get everything on there. Now what we're going to do is do the same thing as we before, add another layer. So the shadowing should technically be last for this. So right now we need to get her eye color right. And so we're going to take skin off again. We're going to have to keep skin off. So Ambi has an interesting eye color thing going on here. So it looks like the base color is this light pink. So we're going to take this light pink color. We're going to try and be as faithful to this as possible. Because again, this is kind of like how they do it. So that's the light color there. Okay. And then they have a dark... They have like this flash right here. I don't know what that is, but then they have like this dark brown, red brown thing going on. Very strange. I mean, essentially it is a shadow in some regard. Okay. And then we'll give that bright flash underneath there. It's fine. It looks like it's like smudged in a little bit, but that's, again, we'll work with it. Oops. Wrong direction. Okay. Then we have green. It's interesting green color. And that's essentially just kind of like bubbled up around down here. And I'm going to use the blur tool. And the reason why I'm using the blur tool is that way it kind of fades it in, right? It just fades it into the color, but it doesn't get rid of the color. It's just spreading it out, just blurs it. It does exactly what it says it's doing. It's blurring it. Because her eyes aren't really all that sharp. She doesn't have sharp colors in her eyes. Alright, and then it looks like now definitely took white. And then this light gray should be the same gray. And not quite, so it's a little darker in here. Okay. And I believe that this is actually going over top of her her retina. So in technicality, this whole thing would actually be over top of the line art itself. Kind of like this, right? But here's the thing, it would be, no, it's gonna seem strange. It's gonna seem strange, but just work with me here. Okay, and then we're going to take that opacity and drop the opacity. There you go. There you go. And we can just kind of draw on top of that. And then erase anything that's on those white spots, because they should, the white spots should be exactly that, just a pure white spot. See how that works? Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. Now, I used to make white spots a little different, as far as like I'd, you know, the traditional dots here and there, and then add some more flair like that, and just, you know, just add some life to them, you know, add some life to these eyes. And then it looks like the last thing is just the normal traditional, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, just this gray. It's basically like where the eyelids are on top of. Something like that. Yeah, so that's kind of Ambi's eyes there. Obviously I took a little bit of artistic flair on it on my own, but it's essentially what they did. I think she looks alright. I just gotta get her eyebrow, which is really just her hair color. So, I mean, I don't have to do anything special there. Just grab that. And we are on the eyes, right? Yeah, eyes. And just boop. Boop. And then from there, however, we are going to add some shadow because that's what should be here. I mean, the hair is going over top. It's not much, but it needs to be there. Beautiful. Yeah, the eyes aren't as complex as what I thought, but I mean, there's still some, I guess you could say, unnecessariness to it, but it doesn't take long, so that's nice to know. Like, I can replicate these eyes pretty easy, and of course, add my own artistic flair to it. All right, we're getting there, man. Getting there. Let's see here. How long we've been at this for about 2 hours now. 2 hours of figuring out how to color this so far. You know, it's coming right along. We're in a lot of these detail processes, and of course, we have taken time to kind of take our own artistic liberties and just understand a few things here and there. So yeah, but she's coming out pretty damn clean. I think we're doing a lot of good justice for Ambi. I think Hoyoverse themselves would be impressed. I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't. I have no idea. But yeah, Ambi's looking good. And then we're going to do a side-by-side comparison, right? We're going to take the original artwork and set it next to this one, and then you can say for yourself what one you like better. Of course, really, I mean, it's the same thing. And of course, whoever the artist is that did this deserves 100% full credit. I don't deserve any credit. It's just a matter of I want to learn how to draw like them, but at the same time, I also need to be a professional, and I need to understand, especially like the things of like the shading of the skin and stuff like that. I need to be able to differentiate what is right and what is wrong, and I'm not afraid to call it out either. Professional artists make mistakes all the time. It is what it is, but I think it's a little disingenuous to the arts in general that shading, in my opinion, on this was just all over the place, and I don't think that's... I think, especially just looking at her hair, like her hair is fairly unified, right? It's a uniform thing. There wasn't much in the hair that I'm like, oh, this is fucking crazy. Like, why would I do this? But when it comes to like matching up with her skin, her hair looks so much better matched up with her skin right now. Ugh. Ugh, the goon is hard. The goon is strong. Alright, so next, let us do the collar here. So we can now go back down here. Collar. And this also is a thing too, right? Now that we know that the shading is kind of everywhere, and I have picked the light source for Ambi, we most likely are no longer going to be following the shading practices of the Hoyoverse artist. So, not saying it's a free-for-all, but at the same time, we may be taking our own artistic freedoms and liberties at this point with Ambi. Now, I don't know who that's going to disappoint, or if again you're satisfied with how I did her skin versus the Hoyo artist did her skin, then I feel like your faith in me is going to be pretty high to do justice with shading, you know, all these other things, right? So let's take a look at her collar. Pretty much pitch black except for some highlights. Okay, sure. So we're gonna grab this color here. This is part of the black bit. And just simply Get on in there, man. Just get on right on in there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then the highlighted bits. So, yeah. Pretty much a very light gray. Which is that right there. I wouldn't necessarily make like a whole new layer for how simple this is. Oh no, he's going off the rails again. What is he doing? He's doing something different. Oh no. Like I said, there's light on everything, right? There wouldn't be this sharp of light, I don't think, so we're going to detract from that. But we are going to get our soft airbrush tool, and we are going to airbrush just a small amount of that ambient light. Everything has light on it. Even the darkest of shadows has some sort of light influence around it. So that's her collar. Satisfied with that, that's fine. What do we want to work on next? We might as well work on the green bits next. So all right. Doodle 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 doo. Doodle doodle doo doodle doodle doo. Doodle 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 doo. I don't know if this is I think that is green, right? It is. Oh, that's black. Okay. Oh, okay. Cool. Cool story, bro. This all should be green here. I think. No, that's... I mean, that is green, but it's not. I think that's green. No. Get zoomed in here to get this done. Okay. So got it. Okay. All the rest of that is green now. Actually, I don't know if that is green. Okay. That's green. That's green. Interesting. So this is only green to a point. Okay. So she doesn't have a whole lot of green. She has got her zipper.
Don't want to forget the zipper. Alright, this should be all of Ambi's green bits. Okay. So what we're gonna do, since we've been on stream for about 2 hours, 20 minutes, we're gonna finish doing the green bits, and then we're gonna have another episode and continue from there. You know, try to be modest with the time on this stuff. Art just takes a long time to do, and you know, it just is what it is. So let's just move forward. New layer and clip it below. Now we're gonna take the lightest shading color. Like I said, we are going to take our own liberties this time, so I am just simply going to shade how I believe this needs to be shaded.
See what I did with the hair?
The shadow of the hair.
Be mindful.
That's all you gotta do. Just be mindful. So far, so good. Now we just need to add gradient shadow to give some really good pop, and then highlight. So gradient shadow, we can use this black, near green black shadow that we were using. We want a fairly broad brush. We're going to do this on a separate layer, so that way if we fuck up, we can change it. We want a fairly large brush because we're just going to do one of these numbers. And that gives a nice gradient to everything. Man, those colors are just popping. Popping! Like I said, by the end of this, we will get a side-by-side comparison of my shade technique versus Hoyoverse's, and, you know, see what the crowd likes. Alright, now we're gonna do highlights. Make sure you have a glow layer. And then we are going to take that yellowish and drop this down, but want to be a little bit more precise. This one's going to be a fairly big circle. Just give us some shine on that, since this chest should be poking out away from everything. So, but we do have the shadow of the sword to keep in mind, and I'm not sure exactly where that shadow is going to go, but we'll figure it out. And now we're going to do some actual, like, highlights. And that'll be pure white. And as you know, she had this white line that went around here. And now you notice when I'm doing that this white detail, right? I went back down to my actual shadow layer because the gradient and the highlights are going to be on top of this detail, right? Makes sense. This is part of the fabric. So whatever highlight or whatever we're doing here is going to be interacting with the lights and shadow. The gradients for sure. All right. Then we are going to go and create a whole nother layer though, because for actual highlights and stuff, we do want to do like that bright yellowish color. And then I'm just playing with this idea because I'm not sure exactly how I want the shine, and we might dull it out a little bit too by using the opacity. Definitely on top of that. And that's looking pretty fire. Nice little shine right off that breast area. Please excuse me. And I already know, like, I am far from how the Hoyoverse artist would have done this. I already know this. But like I said, I just want to do it my own now. I have a lot of pride as an artist, and yeah, maybe I don't do everything right? But at the same time, I know when I should do something when I shouldn't. And sometimes I add a little artistic flair, like, you know, this shine mark right here. Maybe I don't need it, right? It's I don't know what kind of fabric it is, but if I'm gonna assume it's kind of leather-like. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but you know, leather reacts in this way. There's a lot of shine to leather. If you look at a leather jacket in the sun, there's a lot of pretty much pure white spots on it from sunlight, from the edges and stuff, the wrinkle spots. And as you notice, I didn't make this shoe just one solid color, because that's the Hoyoverse artist. That's what they did. They just made it one color. There's going to be light, even if this shoe is pointed in the back here. This shoe is pretty much an object in its own space, and there's nothing actually really interacting with it too much. So really, you're just treating it as like a ball, right? A ball sphere. And so if it's pointing away from the light over here, it's going to be dark, and if it's towards the light over here, it's going to be light. So it just adds a whole new dynamic, and I think Ambi is looking fucking fire as shit, bro. Like, I am really happy with how this is going. Again, I'm taking my own artistic liberties on this. I'm kind of taking over at this point and just doing what I would do. And I think, again, I hope people that are watching this are seeing that I am doing the best and that I'm trying to do Ambi as much justice as possible. That being said, though, you know, I have a lot of subtle shadows, but again, she's highlighted in ways that make you pay attention to certain areas. Honk, honk, wink, wink. And of course, we're gonna keep that type of mentality through all of what we're doing here. And like I said, I am going to be going through and just doing a side-by-side comparison. So from here on, I'm not really going to use Ambi's reference sheet except for just verifying that I'm putting the right colors where they need to be. right? Because I thought this was green when it was not green. That being said, though, I mean, we've been at it, what, for 2 hours and 45 minutes. I think this is a long enough episode. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning so much, and I really hope that everybody that's been watching this little series so far, it's not really a little series, it's a long series, and the hours and hours and hours that has been just getting even to this point, that you've learned a lot, along with me learning, and that, you know, you've enjoyed your time. And so with all that being said, though, I'm going to end the art stream here. I really appreciate anybody who came in to watch. And of course, anyone on YouTube, like I said, comment, like, subscribe, definitely comment. Let me know, am I doing Ambi justice? Am I doing the good thing here? Am I pure Gunnar God material? All right, this is your host, Samurai Kit Kat, and you have yourself a wonderful rest of your day. Toodles!